Now here's your host, Jason Voorhees. And Aaron Savage.
Oh, yeah!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports and Mental Podcast. We are your hosts. This is Aaron Savage. With me, as always, my partner in crime, Mr. Jason Voorhees.
What's going on, my brother?
Not much, brother. But first and foremost, I want to thank our sponsor, La Terrain Watches. Please visit their website. That is LA-TOURAINE.com, LaTerrain.com. Use promo code S&M at checkout and save 10% off your purchase. So we want to thank La Terrain Watches for sponsoring us. And obviously this is I don't want to say a sullen topic, but it's something we have to get into. This is a big anniversary. We're coming up on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and we'd be remiss if we didn't at least, visit the topic. And, Jay, for me personally, I cannot believe it's been 20 years. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's so it's really eerie because it feels like it was just yesterday. And
that's what I mean.
To look at it being 20 years ago that, disgusting, terrible tragedy, occurred. It's just, it just puts into perspective, like, dude, we're getting old.
Dude, it's crazy. And it's just so much, it's so relevant now with everything that's going on with us getting out of Afghanistan. Just brings it so much more to the forefront. A great new miniseries special came out on Netflix. I'm just drawing a blank on what it's called. I actually just watched it this past week, but I'll pull it up really quick. Hold on. Oh, Turning Point. I was drawing a blank. It's called Turning Point. It's on Netflix. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's a miniseries. It's like 4 or 5 episodes. Good evening, CT. Thanks for checking in. It's just an amazing retrospective of not only 9/11, and it has some, amazing audio, in addition to the visual footage, which we've seen so much of. There's some audio footage you've never heard from that day with air traffic control and stuff. And it doesn't just go into 9/11, but it goes into everything that led up to it, going all the way back to 1978 when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan, to spread communism. And it gets into all that and how these, at the time, the United States and the West called them freedom fighters, but these guys in Afghanistan who were fighting against the Soviets, they were like rebels, basically, because they didn't want the Soviet influence on Islam. They didn't want them in their country. They thought they were atheists and Christians. They didn't want them. So the United States was funneling money to these freedom fighters, as they called them, to fight the Soviets, because we had a common interest in fighting the Soviets, because it was the middle of the Cold War, so we were obviously always looking to stop communism from expanding and spreading. So that was our interest in it. But, we funneled them billions of dollars, weapons. Eventually, these called Stingers, these packs where shoot bombs in the air, where they could shoot Soviet planes out of the sky. That was like the turning point that actually led to the fall of the Soviet Union. Hey, Ma, thanks for checking in. And, but this group of freedom fighters in Afghanistan is what became the Taliban, and we financed them. You got to watch Turning Point. It's amazing. And it just goes into all of that and how all that led into the Taliban basically formed from that, and they housed a group that became Al-Qaeda. It was like, it shows the origins of Osama bin Laden and all that. So I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but I mean, if you know history, you kind of know this anyway. But yeah, it's an awesome thing to watch. And like you said, Jay, I can't believe it's been 20 years. It's insane. It's one of those things you remember exactly what you were doing. You remember minute by minute that morning.
I mean, for me, and I was just going to ask you the same thing. I can vividly remember, obviously many of us were at work, if you were younger, you were in school. But I remember when, obviously, I work retail in my day job. And at the time I was actually doing security. So I was basically, in a retail establishment and, kind of working the cameras. And basically my job was to catch shoplifters. But, that day when, this whole thing happened, obviously nobody knew what was going to, nobody knew what it was when it first went down. It was just, word started spreading a plane hit the first tower and, obviously then it was, oh my God, another plane hit the other tower, and so then, at this point, they're starting to say, oh, we think it's terrorism. And then obviously, the other plane that crashed in Pennsylvania, and then, finally the other plane that, hit the Pentagon. So it was like, it was crazy. And I actually had to work. I ended up working like 48 hours because they made me stay at my work because they were worried that something was going to happen like at the job because nobody knew.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was surreal. I was working in Edison at the time. I mean, I was in the area, the building I was working in. We actually had people in the towers. It's just surreal. It's just insane. And it's like it's our JFK, It's our generation's JFK. But anyway, I don't want to harp on it all night. We'll get a little more positivity going. But, always remembering those who lost their lives on 9/11, 20 years later. Anyway, are you ready for some football? A Thursday night party.
Bro.
You got Aaron and Jay, Sports and Middle Podcast. Get it started. Woo! Football season is here, brother. Excited?
Yeah, for those that don't know, Aaron also sings karaoke on the side.
Yeah.
And was in a band, so.
Yeah. Now karaoke is my outlet, which I really don't even do that anymore. But anyway,
no.
I'm pumped up for football season, man.
I mean, this is like my favorite time of the year, obviously. I know it is for you. And I know
my favorite time would be now, and obviously, when baseball season kicks off in April. But there's no better time than now when baseball season's winding down. You go to the pennant races, you're getting into the playoffs, and football starts. I mean, to me, it's the best of both worlds. The weather starts cooling off. If I had to pick, this is probably my favorite time of the year because of all that,
Well, yeah, and piggybacking off of that, because I was just going to say, but you kind of went into it already. Like, we always harp on how, for me and you, baseball's our number one love. And obviously, when spring training happens and then you're going into that first week of baseball, obviously we're excited. But I think the difference of this, the magnitude is baseball's still going on and it's actually a pennant race. Now, obviously, if the Phillies and Mets were doing better this year, we might be a little more positive on that side of things. But, football's obviously, huge for you and I. I mean,
oh, yeah, absolutely. And just everything about it. I mean, like you said, the baseball season winding down, like I had said, and you got the football starting. The weather cools off, so I always prefer the cooler weather. Jay's more of a hockey guy than me, CT. I'm sorry. I don't do hockey. I'm sorry, man.
But in the same token, hockey will be starting soon too. So yes, that's why this is the best time of the year.
Yeah, like I said, for a sports fan, there's nothing better, admittedly. Yeah, but I mean, tonight we got Cowboys, Bucks, Thursday night football to kick off the season. Defending champion Buccaneers. Tom Brady is Tom Brady. I expect big things again from him this year. Bro, in a 17-game season, even at his age, what is he, 44 now? I'm losing track, 45? Dude, I mean, the guy's probably going to throw for 5,000 yards this year in a 17-game season. Now, I know he's done that in a 16-game season, which is extraordinary. Like, top couple all-time yardage seasons, he's there with Peyton Manning and Drew Brees at this point. But, I mean, in a 17-game season, even at his age, I expect him to approach his career high. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think Brady's going to lose a step. What do you think?
I have to agree with you. I mean, Tom Brady, the funny thing is Drunk on Broad checking in.
What's up?
Let's not spoil it, but I will spoil it. Drunk on Broad will be a guest next week on our show. So looking forward to that.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So for me, Tom Brady is like the ultimate GOAT. I mean, I think we talked about this on a previous show, and we kind of, we were talking about the GOAT of GOATs, and what would that list look like? Obviously, Tom Brady would be at the top because the guy is just every year that you think, oh my God, Tom Brady's done, or I don't think he's going to do it anymore. Look what he comes back and just kind of says, hold my beer. I mean, every year the guy just puts up massive numbers. Obviously, it's not all about numbers. With him, he's obviously put up the numbers and has the hardware to back it up. Like, there's a lot of players, let's face it, that put up numbers year after year but never win a championship. This guy, I mean, it's just nobody's won more. So
I sensed that little dig at Marino there, Jay.
No, you know what? I'll never.
I'm taking balls.
I don't think. Well, let's be honest. I don't think you can fault someone necessarily for not winning a championship when it's a team sport. But the point I'm making
I
is
agree.
that
Brady.
Tom Brady
Brady's
has
a guy
every,
that was winning before he put up the gaudy numbers, and then it was almost like, oh, Peyton Manning put up 5,000 yards, 48 touchdowns. Hold my beer, and he's like, I can do it too. That's what I think about. That's to me what separates Brady from everybody else. This is a guy that was already a proven winning player, And in the beginning, he was pigeonholed as like a system guy or a game manager because that first rookie. But he was a rookie. I mean, he did have and guess what? The numbers weren't as juiced when he was a rookie either. That's how long Tom Brady's been in the league. 20 years. A lot has changed in the NFL in 20 years as far as how stats are juiced now. You know what I'm saying? That's right. Anyway, you look at Brady from day one. He didn't put up the gaudy numbers right away, but he was a winning player. And then, like I said, he was like, you know what? I want to put up gaudy numbers too. It was almost like you always hear about Ty Cobb in baseball, how the guy was arguably the greatest player in his era until Babe Ruth came along and started kind of overshadowing him. And Ty Cobb was pissed, and he was like, if I wanted to, I could have hit 50 home runs, but I wanted to hit 407. I wanted to hit 390. So it's almost like that. It was like Tom Brady did that, though. He did it. He's like, well, if he could do that, I could do it too, and I can do it better. And he's still doing it. Well, and he's still doing it into his mid-40s. With 7 rings?
Well, I guess that's the point, is that this guy's kind of done everything. So it's like we've had guys that, like I said, have put up numbers, but not won a championship, or vice versa. Obviously there's quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls, but they're terrible. I mean, Trent Dilfer comes to
That's why you can't judge that when you can't. That's like you can't just judge somebody by if they won, because you could stink and win.
Correct.
Tom Brady's the total package.
And I guess what you're asking me, what are my thoughts? I mean, obviously, after last year, I will never. I'm not going to lie. I've been guilty of doubting Brady, because I doubted him last year. A lot of people were like, oh, Tom Brady has a chance to, go to another team and win a Super Bowl. And I never in a million years thought that they were going to win that Super Bowl last year. I just didn't. Even up until, you can.
At the beginning of last season, the Bucs weren't even on my radar. Honestly. No disrespect intended. I'm not saying they didn't have a solid team, but did they exceed my expectations? And now, even I have to consider them a favorite. They've added talent to what they had, but honestly, you got a lot more out of Gronk than I ever thought you'd get at that point in his career. Obviously, being reunited with Brady was a big thing. Then you had Brady just stepped into that lineup, into that offense, and it was like he was in New England. He just elevated the game of everybody around him. And that's what he does. That's the sign of a great player. And I'll admit, I did not have them on my radar going into the season last year. I would have never picked the Bucs.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Even playoff time, I really believed that Green Bay was, going to go to the Super Bowl, and I got to be honest, I was totally shocked when Tampa, obviously went and then won. And I guess what made that Super Bowl even more amazing in one sense too is that look who he beat, Tom Brady. He beat arguably
he beat the guy that's the heir apparent.
Correct, the face honestly, of the NFL.
No disrespect to Mahomes, because Mahomes is unbelievable, but that just cements Brady's legacy on another level that almost makes him untouchable. I compare it to being a Mets fan in New York City and having to share the city with the Yankees, and the Yankees have 27 world championships, and the Mets losing to the Yankees in the 2000 World Series at home. You just can't overcome that. That's what Brady did. He cemented himself. Pat Mahomes is never going to accomplish what I've accomplished. That was a statement he made. And again, it's no knock on Pat Mahomes. It's just a tribute to the greatness of Tom Brady. And guess what? No pun intended. I used the word tribute. There's a reason for the title, Tribute 9/11. I didn't intend it here. We have a guest coming on soon. He's one of the great leaders of tribute bands. I'll get into that a little bit when we bring them out, but I didn't mean to even use the word tribute. It just came out. So little nod to the title of the episode, if you will. But yeah, it's true. It's a tribute to the greatness of Tom Brady. He's unbelievable. But let's move on a little bit. Give me some bold predictions for this season, Jay.
So I have a couple bold predictions. Now, and don't take this as me being a homer. It's just me being a fan of this certain player. But my bold prediction, one of my bold predictions, is that Devonta Smith is actually going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I've come in and said that, and I got a lot of flack for it because there's a lot of people saying there's no way that, he's going to do that. He's too small, this and that. I really am super, super stoked about Devonta Smith. I think his size is the only thing that's kind of questionable about his game. They've compared his route run. They said his route running is on Jerry Rice level coming out of college. And that's saying something. When you have a wide receiver that can run routes and read defenses the way that this guy does, that's special. Because let's face it, there's a lot of guys that come in the NFL with speed. I could think of one right off the bat, John Ross. And look at John Ross. He's never done anything. He's hurt every single year, and he just never has become any kind of a player. He has a lot of speed, but
I think of Ted Ginn.
A route runner. Well, yeah, but Ted Ginn actually did have some.
He ended up having a solid
return
career.
Skills.
Yeah.
Well, his return game has actually kind of prolonged his career.
Yeah, I agree.
But, that's definitely one of my bold predictions.
Before you move on to another one, okay. I think it's going to be a fun season because I have a similar feeling for a teammate of Devonta Smith that my team drafted, Jalen Waddle. I think it's going to be a fun competition between you and I as Dolphin fan, Eagle fan, to see which one of these players elevates. I love both of them. Jalen Waddle, I think you're sleeping on him a little bit. He's bigger. He's probably a little quicker or at least comparable. He was kind of the guy for a while in Alabama with Tua. He got hurt. Devonta Smith's awesome. But I think it's going to be definitely interesting. I think it's going to be a fun season. We'll see who actually comes out on top in this rookie battle between Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith.
Well, not to get off the subject, but the funny thing about that is that Jamar Chase was the one that got drafted ahead of both of them.
Yes.
And I think Jamar Chase, a lot of people had him pegged as the number one wide receiver, and that's my other bold prediction. I'm not saying that Jamar Chase is going to be a terrible NFL player, but I'm not sold on him being a generational wide receiver. And with that being said, I think Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith both end up with better careers than Jamar Chase. That's another bold prediction.
I can see it. And here's another thing that you hit on that I'd like to chime in on. I'm so tired of the use of generational talent. You can't every single draft say that there's a generational wide receiver in this draft. There's a generational quarterback in this draft. Blah, blah, blah. Every year we're hearing it. Well, then it's not generational. You'd only use the term every decade if it was that. You can't throw it around because it means nothing.
So I believe what you're saying is, Aaron, pump the fucking brakes.
Yes. A generational talent, honestly, is probably like a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady. There's not many. We're hearing it and suck for luck. Tank for Tua. We're hearing it every year with these drafts. Most of these guys don't have successful NFL careers or have marginal NFL careers or have a short period of sustained success. Generational talent means you transcend the game. You're Megatron as a wide receiver. You're Tom Brady as a quarterback. You're Barry Sanders as a running back. Those are generational talents. We've gotten into the habit of every draft calling multiple players generational talents, and we got to stop. But I know I'm on a tangent, but I had to throw that out there.
No,
I'm so sick of that term. So sick of it.
I got to be honest with you. I agree 100%. Even with Kyle Pitts, I know a lot of people are high on him as far as, the film study and what he brought to the college game. But to just automatically think that this guy's going to be the next Jason Kelce is insane. Jason Kelce's been doing it for 10 years. Like, let's hold up here. Give it a couple years. I agree. I think the problem is everybody wants instant gratification.
I agree.
When it comes to, a lot of NFL prospects, it takes a couple years sometimes. It's not always, it's not always, going to happen that second.
Yeah, I agree. And and to that point too, it's also about the way we look at players in an era of juiced offense in the NFL. It's like the expectation is that everybody's going to put up ridiculous numbers because of the way the game is being played. But I think, like you said, we need to pump the brakes a little bit on that. If I'm going to give you my bold prediction, is Steven here?
He's having a little trouble getting in, so
okay. I wasn't sure if he was here.
No, that's yeah.
Yep. So hopefully we're having our guest Steven Desko in here soon. In the meantime, we'll keep shooting the shit about football. I hadn't had a chance to give you my bold prediction yet.
Well, that was my bold prediction, and then you kind of piggyback. So
my bold prediction though, I haven't gotten into it yet. I actually think, and I was kind of down on him last year, but everything I've seen and heard, I actually expect a big season from Tua this year. I think Tua is going to exceed. Now, granted, it's a 17-game season, so this isn't like, wow, burn or, turn the page, fucking crazy numbers. But I expect maybe 4,200 yards from Tua this year in a 17-game season. And I could see him throwing 30 touchdown passes. Again, I'm not saying rewrite the record books, but considering where he came from last season, I'm expecting a big jump for Tua. And that's kind of where I'm expecting his numbers to be.
Well, I don't necessarily think that's a bold prediction because you're not saying that he's going to be, MVP or something. That would
but I think he's going to put up very good numbers, and I think a lot of people were ready to write him off last year.
Now, I actually happen to think that Tua is actually going to be pretty good too myself. A lot of people are down on him. I'm not a Dolphins fan, as you know. I'm an Eagles fan, but I root for. I want the Dolphins to succeed because you're my best friend and I want the team to do well. I have no ill will towards the Dolphins. I actually believe that Tua has a lot of talent. I think a lot of his issues were more mental than physical. He has the capabilities. He obviously does. He showed what he could do in college. Now, I know college and NFL is different, but I think the injury had a lot to do with his slow start last year. Also, you got to remember, Miami's surrounded him with a lot more weapons now. I mean, like you said, you brought up Waddle.
And his college teammate Waddle, yeah.
And don't forget, Will Fuller, when he is healthy, is a number one wide receiver.
He's a home run hitter.
And, another a full season of, Myles Gaskin at the, running back one. I think this team could be, very scary. Definitely the Bill. I mean, I definitely have the Bills as the best team in the division, but I think the Dolphins definitely could contend. And I think that, my pick actually, I had them going like 9-7 or 10-6. Oh, actually, no, it would be 9-8.
17 games.
Yeah, or 10-7.
Yeah.
But I'll give you.
I think that would be a huge disappointment.
Now,
I think that'd be after last year. I think that would be a huge disappointment. I think anything less than 11-6 is a disappointment, in my opinion, coming off of where they came from last year and they added to the team. I could definitely see 12-5, even 13-4. I'm being bold, but I mean, coming off of what they did last year, and they've only improved the team. Like you said, I think Tua was coming off the injury. He hadn't played in over a year. He admitted that he hadn't really learned the playbook the way he should have. Now, you could call that an indictment of Tua. He probably should have done a better job at that. But the reality is that's what he said. I think coming after having a full year in the NFL, having learned the playbook, healthy as can be, added talent around him, the defense is solid. I just think it's a really good situation for Tua to have success, and I think the team's going to be really good. I really do. And I think Brian Flores is, if not the best coach in the league, sans Bill Belichick, he's certainly on the list. I'm so impressed with him as a coach. I'm proud to have him as our coach. And I haven't been able to say that about Dolphins coach in many, many years.
I think if definitely if the Dolphins make the playoffs, he'll definitely be in the conversation for Coach of the Year. I mean,
he was already there last year. Like I said, anything less than playoffs now is a disappointment.
Now, speaking of bold predictions, so I if I were to say who I really believed was going to win MVP this year, it wouldn't necessarily be bold because I actually feel that Aaron Rodgers is going to win again.
Really?
But if I was going to pick a dark horse and it would be the sleeper for my MVP, my pick would be Ryan Tannehill this year. I really am super high on Tannehill, and I think adding Julio Jones to Antonio, I'm sorry, I said Antonio Brown.
Well, AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, yeah.
And they have Corey Davis still, I believe.
Let's not get the Brown. No, Corey Davis left, but
he left. I couldn't remember.
But Julio Jones is Julio Jones when he's healthy. I get it.
He's still Julio Jones, exactly.
So I think,
and then having Derrick Henry to change the pace. I agree with you. I could see Tannehill having a monster season, and I think people still sleep on that guy because he's a guy that could throw in a 17-game season. He's a guy this year that could throw for 5,000 yards. He's already thrown for over 4,000 yards a couple times in his career, and he did it when Mike Wallace was his top receiver in Miami. I mean, this guy can do it, and he can run. People sleep on Tannehill. He's a guy that's mobile. He can run, and when you have these kind of weapons and you have Derrick Henry to kind of, change the defense's look up and focus on him a little bit, I think Ryan Tannehill's primed for a monster season. I could see that offense being like the Chiefs' offense, to be honest with you. If it goes well, obviously there's always ifs.
He had 33 passing touchdowns last year. He has hold on. I'm trying to get this.
What are you looking up? Tanny's numbers?
No, I'm trying to send the invite
to Steven.
He's not getting it on email, so I was trying to figure another way to try to get him in here.
Yeah, well, but what you were saying, Tannehill, 33 touchdown passes, only 7 interceptions last year, 3,800 passing yards, which isn't like off the chains by any means, but keep in mind you had Derrick Henry there. Like I said, in earlier incarnations of his career, Tannehill threw for over 4,000 yards twice in Miami. His career high is 4,208 passing yards in 2015. Again, I mean, he was throwing to guys like Brian Hartline and Mike Wallace. He didn't have Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. So, I mean, I think Tannehill's a highly slept-on quarterback. I think he always has been. We've talked about it on this show. But, I mean, he's also a guy that can run. He had multiple rushing touchdowns last year. He had 300-400 rushing yards. I'm actually not looking at that right now, but I know he had 300-400 rushing yards. He's always been a mobile guy. I think he's a real talent in this league. And I think he's also a guy that only recently is starting to reach his full potential. People forget he was a wide receiver in college that switched to quarterback as a college player and then was drafted in the first round. So Ryan Tannehill, there's a lot of hope there for a big season. How are we looking, Steven? Any word?
Yeah, I'm waiting. I just sent it another way.
Tell him he could just copy and paste the link. While we're waiting for Steven, I know we were talking about running backs. We were talking about Myles Gaskin. Brings me to my fantasy team, dude. I have Myles Gaskin on my fantasy team. Bro, did I get a bad break today? Gus Edwards on the Ravens. They're saying he may have torn his ACL in practice today.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was out and about, really busy, and I saw your text. I had no idea what the hell you were texting me about. You said something about
dude, I saw 2 days
won the lottery or something.
Yeah, 2 days ago, you picked up Tyson Williams, their backup running back, who now looks primed to be the primary guy. Now, I know Le'Veon Bell, they picked him up. He was on the practice squad. I don't think anybody's worried about Le'Veon Bell anymore. So I think you might have hit the jackpot picking up Tyson Williams off the waiver wire. So, fantasy guys, this is the guy to pick up right now.
Well, I mean, I do know a thing or two about fantasy. Let's face it. I only did 15 drafts this year, so I better kind of know what's going on in football. No, I am obsessed, but I'm pretty good at it. Like, the reason I picked him up, I didn't pick him up necessarily because I thought he was great. I picked him up because I know that Gus Edwards has been injury prone in the past, and I figured, well, this guy's ready to start. If Gus goes down, he's the number one back in an offense that runs the ball.
Yeah, and they have no other options. So it was a great pickup. Like I said, you basically picked him up 2 days ago. Today, Gus Edwards tears his ACL. You hit the jackpot with that one. But anyway, without further ado, he's finally here. Let's welcome our guest. He fronts the premier Ozzy Osbourne cover band in the Philadelphia tri-state area called the Land of Oz. They're amazing young guitarist Matt Stanley we've had on the show. We had on our other show, and the Gavel Will Rock before. I think we had him on this show too, actually. I forgot.
We did.
Matt Stanley, Guitar Prodigy, is the lead guitar player. So Stephen J. Desko is the leader of Land of Oz. He's about to come out, but before I bring him out, he doesn't just do Ozzy, he does Dio. He also does a sick Dio. He's also the lead singer and frontman of premier Philadelphia area Dio tribute band. They even do the old Richie Blackmore's Rainbow stuff, the Dio solo stuff, the Sabbath Dio, Live Evil is Ultimate Live Evil.
My God, they're awesome.
And he just blew my mind this past week when I saw he's got a new project. I'm going to ask him how this came about, but it's called Mad Steven, and it's an Alice in Chains and Mad Season cover band. Please welcome to the show the man, the myth, the legend, Stephen Desko.
Thank you.
Hey,
What's up, Robert?
I hope that intro met up to your expectations.
That was great. That sounded like a real radio dude.
Well, I hope we hyped you up enough. Anyway, dude, welcome to the show.
Cool. Thank you, man. I'm sorry I was a little tech unsavvy.
It's okay, man.
We got dogs coming out. All right. Excuse me. I have a dog going by.
No worries.
No barking. Anyway, yeah, Mad Steven. So I have a band, friend of ours, Ira from STP. I think, Jason, you were at the show.
Yeah, we were both at that show.
we were
Loungefly.
there.
Loungefly, premier STP tribute band.
Your beautiful blonde hair debuted. And so I saw you over there, and we do some business. So we're doing a Tom and Jerry show. And the Foo Fighters and the Green Days and the Pearl Jams of the world, they were kind of busy. So I had an idea just to sit in and do a little bit of a Lane Staley thing. Dude. And so we called it a Mad Steven. And Dave Romani's going to sit in on the drums from Musician Impossible and Separate Ways. And what was he with also? The Yellow Tribute. So he's on band. Cooper Boyd's going to play guitar. And Mark Tomlinson's on bass. Real good singer. Jim Cole's going to sit in with us. And we're going to try to do some Lane Staley. We're going to do Mad Season, maybe a Soundgarden song, and then the Dirt album. That's going to be
awesome.
Dude.
That's 90 minutes.
Just so you know, Aaron and I will 99% be there. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, those boys. Ira really got some good good players when he shifted personnel. I mean, his two new guys are pretty cool. Like, we were at that show. It was pretty awesome.
fantastic.
This was nice. Kathy does a good job down there. Really, really cool venue. I would love to play there. Hint, hint.
Now, I have to ask you, Steven. So you're saying that the whole idea to do this Mad Steven Lane Staley thing all came to mind that night at the Loungefly show?
No, I was just talking about the band. What happened was, it looks like I'm bald. Look at this.
No, it's just the lighting.
My head's floating, man. All right, so I was hanging out at a show. I needed an opener for them, so I was talking about the band. I couldn't get an opener for them, so I decided to put together a little something to team up with them so I could give them a good date at Tom and Jerry's. Speaking of Tom and Jerry's, you guys are familiar with the Iron Maidens?
Yes.
I am. Tomorrow
night, outdoors in the tent. So all of yous can come over from Jersey or wherever. Even New Jersey folks can come over to fucking Commodore. Come over to Commodore Barry. But the Iron Maidens are playing 7:30 to about 10 or however late we can push that noise ordinance. But I'll be in Buffalo with the Land of Oz at the Riviera Theater. But we're We're co-hosting it as a promotion company, Clockwork Productions. So please come out and see the Iron Maidens. Their Penn's Peak show fell through, so we were doing a routing show for them, and it should be a lot of fun. And Tim Oliver from Ancient Mariners is going to sit in for a song. Sweet guy, cool dude, excellent singer. He's going to be the ambassador of Clockwork Productions for me that night because we'll be in Buffalo with my better half playing Ozzy. And if you're in Buffalo, buy tickets. We have a few hundred left, but we're looking good.
Speaking of the Mariners, I actually saw your other band, Ultimate Live Evil, and the Mariners in Delaware.
Whoa!
And let me tell you, that was an absolute kick-ass show. It was the first time I saw the Mariners and the first time that I saw your band.
Wow!
And then I just happened to see you guys last month, Ultimate Live Evil, you played with the Whitesnake tribute.
Oh yes, downtown. Wow!
And Rick Haas was sitting in on guitar. No, I'm sorry, Matt Stanley was.
Stanley, yeah,
Matt Stanley.
That's my bench. I got Matt Stanley backs up Rick Haas and Live Evil. I have a farm. They accuse me of having a farm system of guitar players.
It seems that way.
You operate just like Ozzy because you are Ozzy.
Yeah, Cooper.
You gotta have the best of the best.
Hey, I like young boys better than priests, but the boys play well. The kids rehearse. They're well prepared. They make me have to work out and not be fat. So it's good. It's a win-win for everybody. And I also have a band called Just Sabbath, which is we're doing all the vintage old Black Sabbath that we don't get to with the Land of Oz. Because Matt's kind of one of the best, if not the best, Randy Rhoads guy in the country. So we do favor the Randy Rhoads catalog. But sometimes the Sabbath gets a little left behind. I'm never going to get to National Acrobat with Land of Oz, but I did it last week. Pardon the voice. I fell asleep waiting for you guys. I'm hustling up the steps, man.
Well, no worries. So I have to ask, with Just Sabbath, do you guys ever hit on some of the stuff from like Sabotage, like Megalomania, and all that kind of stuff?
I did Symptom and Hole in the Sky, the last show.
Oh, awesome.
Off that record. We didn't go real deep with that yet. I'm trying to maybe add Hard Road because I love the harmonies. My bass player is an awesome singer, and I kind of wanted to throw a strange ass song in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get, because you can only do so many B-sides, but I definitely want to get make some people smile with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It should be fun.
I have a question for you. So would you ever do an Ultimate Live Evil Land of Oz duo show? And if so, is that in the works or could that be in the works? Or would that be too much?
It's tough to sing Dio. I would do it in that order because I would want all my tricks for Dio, and Ozzy's a little bit easier to sing technically, and it would be a 90 and a 90. I mean, I've done it before. I've opened up a Live Evil for Ozman before. So I've done both characters in a show. I like to be a little more of a gunslinger at a show and really put out and feel like I played football the next day. You know what I mean? And
it might be too much.
I don't know if I could put out the proper show for both characters if I overlapped it like that.
That's a fair point. And you make a good point about Ozzy's a little easier to sing, but it's kind of why I kind of went with the other question I asked you with the Just Sabbath stuff. Because if you think about it, if you hit on the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath and Sabotage stuff, that's got to be the toughest Ozzy stuff to sing. That's where Ozzy was singing at his highest.
Sabbath Bloody Sabbath I have early, like song 3 or 4, because those notes are like, you need some tricks. They're pretty fun. And Never Say Die is up there. I enjoy the Sabbath is easier to sing than the Ozzy solo. Ozzy solo has some distinct deliveries within it, and they're all different. And I do have Sabbath in that band too, but Sabbath is more direct, more garage, more straight ahead. But the other Ozzy stuff is actually really technically like decent and strange vocally. You know what I mean? It's like I really gotta get under. Like Diary of a Madman, it's very hard to sing. Tonight has got some really sweet notes in it. It's I don't know. It's just a different skew, different delivery. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. Yeah, from a different place.
I mean, you guys, I kind of grew to know you guys back in 2014, and you guys welcomed me with open arms to your rehearsal studio, and I actually did that interview back when I was with Philly Rock.
Oh yeah, it was a while.
You guys just, I mean, I'll never forget. Like, I mean, that was Matt, just joining the band, and I remember when he played that. I have all 5 videos that I took that night, and that when he did that Tonight performance, I was I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, it was like I swore that Randy Rhoads was right in front of me, and I swore that Ozzy was in front of me. Like, you guys are that fucking good. Like, honest to God, I haven't saw you in a couple of years, Land of Oz, and I'm hoping to, soon that if you come in the area, in local area, hopefully soon. But I mean, for those that are watching this right now, if you guys have not seen Steven and with any of these bands, let me just tell you, these tribute bands that you're, a part of, Steve, they're absolutely amazing. Like, I enjoy watching them. Like I was saying to Aaron, I said the same thing when we went to the STP show. When we saw you there. Like, I enjoy watching this just like I felt like back in the day, like watching the original do it.
Well, that's the thing. It's better to. I'd rather see a Land of Oz show now than an Ozzy show.
Yeah,
it takes you back to when Ozzy was Ozzy. You know
Ozzy
what I mean?
Was good. I mean, I've seen Ozzy like 10 times or 8 times.
Me too, or more. Yeah,
and something like that. And like half the time, he's freaking awesome. And the other half was like if any of us saw the Shot in the Dark tours with Queensryche and Metallica opening up, yikes! Like, dude, I mean, I quit drinking in 2015. That's helped me along as far as late in the set, So when you're partying, I guess it's hit or miss with your shows.
And obviously Ozzy's old now too. So I just mean, like, we're lucky to even have Ozzy on Earth, let alone doing a show at this point.
Yeah, I'm not convinced we're gonna see him again. Like I don't. I just saw the last thing at with Zach at the Camden, and it was nice. But man, I never heard anything. Was he 3 steps down? I'm not a guitar player, but he was like, wow. He was like, whoa.
Yeah.
He was whoa. But he was decent. He sounded good, He was in good spirits,
Yeah.
He did a good show. I had a great time.
Well, I have to ask you something. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Steven.
Uh-oh.
Are you more of a Dio or an Ozzy guy, since you do both?
Let's say this. I did a Dio tribute before I did an Ozzy tribute. It was called Heaven and Hell. But then Dio got back together with Sabbath and called it Heaven and Hell. So it really got stupid. So we stopped doing it. But I love doing Dio. Rainbow is like my favorite band. Deep Purple's my shit. Anything with Blackmore or Dio in it is pretty awesome. But I make like 5 times as much money playing Ozzy. So there's the line I'm walking. I play Dio, but I do a lot better personally when I play Ozzy.
Okay, fair enough.
500% more money. I mean, not that it's all about money, but yikes.
At the end of the day, you got to pay the bills, and
I know.
Obviously, I did ask you earlier about doing both shows, but I was privy to the show that you did in Philly, and you did do some Land of Oz material because Matt was sitting in, which that was super cool because I was not expecting that when you told me that when I pulled up and saw you at the step sitting there, and you're like, I got some surprises for you tonight. I had no idea that you were going to play, that much Ozzy, and you even did Sabbath. And let me tell you, Matt might enjoy playing Randy Rhoads better, but he sure as hell plays all three parts phenomenal. Whether it's Iommi or whatever Dio guitarist there. I mean, obviously different Dio songs were different guitarists, but he did that awesome, and obviously Randy Rhoads. So I mean, I think
Matt's a beast. Matt's a special player. Good kid. Damn, you know what I mean.
But Cooper Boyd, man, I'll tell you what, he's phenomenal himself.
Slugger, man. Yeah, they're only 21 now.
It's like,
Matt just turned
God.
23. Oh, it's crazy. Cooper's great. Cooper, I put Cooper on stuff when I can. He's in the Mad Steven with us. So we got a September 20th rehearsal. We got to nail it. We got like 4 vocal parts. It's gonna be crazy. I got 3 hours, so we should be able to do it.
I'm excited.
Well, that's an awesome album. That's an awesome album, Dirt. I mean, that's just.
It's Dave Romani's idea, and I'm like, yeah, all right. I'm on the Drum Mad Season, so we're doing 4 Mad Season songs, and then we're doing a Soundgarden song, I think, in the middle, and then the Dirt album start to finish in order. So it should be 82 minutes of runtime, the whole set. So we should nail 90 minutes right on time. Boom.
Awesome.
I hope. We'll find out.
Anyway, we have a segment coming up, Steven. We'll have you stick around, and maybe you could chime in and offer some of your thoughts. Jay,
Okay.
let's do it. The picks
What's it
of the week.
about?
The picks of the week.
It's just the picks of the week. So, Aaron, explain what it is, so the
Yeah,
audience.
just
knows.
every week, Jason and I, we just do our pick of the week. It could be an album, a concert video, a rock and roll or heavy metal movie, just something that we think
I thought
everybody
it
should
was
check out.
a point spread.
No. It's
Okay.
our heavy metal picks of the week. Something we think everybody should check out. So,
Okay.
Jay, I know you've been
I'm trying
excited
to think
to
of
do
something because I'm old and I got a pick of the week.
Well, guess what? You know
I
what? Wait,
know,
before you say something, you're right, Steven. It is NFL week 1. It's NFL.
Yes.
It could have been that.
I know, because aren't you sports and other
Yes, we are sports and metal. Yeah,
sports and other shit too?
that's right.
There you go, man.
Oh, right. I gotta look something up, and I have a pick of the week, but I want to know the name of it, so I'm going to do some research here.
Fine. We're going to let Jay go first because I know he's been super pumped for his pick this week.
Jay.
Yeah. So I am super stoked. I've been stoked about this since I found out about it a month and a half back. But my pick of the week is none other than Iron Maiden's brand new album. Just came out last week, Senjutsu. And let me tell you, the thing about Iron Maiden that a lot of people over the past few years have gotten kind of to the point where, they're sick of the sound. They say, oh, Iron Maiden just sounds the same. It's like the same rehashed material. Well, let me tell you, so their last album was Book of Souls, which was basically a concept album. This album, to me, is their best album that they've put out since Brave New World, which was actually the first album with Bruce Dickinson back in the band. The album is phenomenal. Now, to me, it's got a little bit of everything. That's okay. It has a little bit of everything of their new material since Brave New World. Obviously, they did try to go outside of the box. There's a track called "The Writing on the Wall," which I'm sure you heard that, Aaron. It's the one with the video. It's kind of a country type sounding song. So for them, that was kind of different. But I'm with you. The masterpiece on this record is a track that totally reminds me of one of my all-time favorite Maiden albums, is Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. And this song, The Time Machine, is absolutely off the charts. It reminds me of that album, The Seventh Son of the Seventh.
That's what I said, that riff, yeah.
it kind of went back to that style. But they also have a couple tracks on there, The Darkest Hour, which is basically a ballad. It reminds me of the song that so Bruce Dickinson had a solo career after he left Ozzy. And there was a song, there was a couple ballads that he did with them that were big. Aaron, you know the one I'm talking about.
I lost you for a second. What did you just say, Jay?
Bruce Dickinson's solo album. There's a song that's
well, he has a number of solo albums. I one of them is my pick of the week. So you kind of.
Okay. Well, then I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, my pick of the week. If you haven't checked it out, Senjutsu by Iron Maiden. Obviously, you know that's my jam. I'm a diehard Maiden fan, always will be. And this kind of brings Maiden back to the forefront because, like I said, a lot of people are saying that they're sick of the sound and it's the same rehashed material. But to me, this is that kind of album that will grow on you. So the more I've listened to it, the more I've actually enjoyed it. And I liked it from the beginning. I didn't actually like the first track, the one that I was telling you about, the country song. But everything else other than that, I love.
Strange.
All right, I'm going to come in with my pick of the week. Now, I'm probably in the minority here. I actually love Bruce Dickinson's solo stuff overall more than the Maiden stuff. I know that I'm the only one in the world that would ever say that. I love the Tattooed Millionaire album. That was actually Bruce Dickinson almost having a more glam sound. I don't want your silver lining. I just want to be a tattooed millionaire. Word is he wrote that about Nikki Sixx. Word is he wrote that about Nikki Sixx.
What cover did he do? He did a cover.
He did on that record. He did All the Young Dudes.
That was friggin' awesome.
Yep, that was a great record.
He's great, dude. Not to pick your point back up. I just smoked some weed and thought of something. My special getting weed powers. I'm like Tally. But did you ever see in Canterbury Cathedral him and the dude from the Moody Blues and Ian Anderson fucking do songs in that echoey fucking cathedral?
Yeah.
Dude, you ever see that?
Yeah. Yes.
I haven't. No.
I'm Chris Farley. That was awesome. Okay, go ahead. Back to the story.
No, it's all good. So I was just kind of going through the solo records. The first one, Tattooed Millionaire, I love. I loved Balls to Picasso on it. I don't know if you remember that one song he had, Tears of the Dragon. That was the big hit off of that.
That's the song I was talking about.
Okay, but my favorite song on that record, is Change of Heart. You're walking away. You need a change of heart. That one. So anyway, I'm just kind of going through the records. Neither of these are my
You're quite the singer, bro.
Thank you, Steven. The pick of the week that I have is the Bruce Dickinson record that doesn't ever get really talked about. Came out in 1998, The Chemical Wedding.
Chemical Wedding.
Love this record. I love the guitar playing on it. I mean, it's unbelievable. The Chemical Wedding is a great song. It's a concept album. You know, King and Crimson's a great record. The Tower, Killing Floor. I think it might be the heaviest record he played on. What's that, Steven?
The concept story. What's the tale? What's the story?
Oh, you're asking too much. I haven't lyrical themes.
He's got to do some research.
Yeah, I'd have to really go back and look about everything. I just have this pick of the week because I haven't heard. It's a record that I always go back and listen to. You're getting too deep for me right now.
Mindcrime had that story. The Wall had that crazy story. You know what I mean? Which I saw The Wall just hide before, and it didn't make sense. And then I saw it on acid, and then it made sense. I'm just saying.
Aaron and I saw The Wall high.
Yeah, it was it was okay.
Shoot.
Tripping balls.
Did you say that?
that was back in my youth because we
saw The Wall. We saw The Wall somewhere in Philly. Aaron, remember that?
That wasn't. I mean, The Wall I've seen a million times. What you're talking about? We saw the Pink Floyd laser show.
There was the laser
shows
at the Planetarium.
Yes, yes.
Zeppelin, Pink Floyd.
It's showing our age.
Did you see Laser Loggins? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know. I don't that. Anyway, Steven, we're almost out of time. You said you had a pick of the week. We want to hear it. What is it?
Okay. So
it's weed.
I listen to
pick of the week is weed. It's hot.
I listen to some really weird shit. There's this band called King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. You ever hear of those guys?
No.
Okay. It's real trippy shit. They're I think they're from Australia or somewhere far away like that, where they talk kind of funny. But they do this thing called micro tuning, right? They found these notes in between the regular notes, and it almost has a Middle Eastern little twangy weirdness to it, and it's really fucking awesome. And I was talking to Cooper Boyd, and his students, like the young heads, the teenagers and the 20-year-olds, are into this band. Now they do play it on XPN and stuff on that little weird ass station over there, which is awesome. I don't know if you guys are just metal, but
Nah,
you know,
I'm everything, bro.
because I'm like homework. Like I game film a lot of fucking Ozzy and Dio, so I like to listen to the opposite sometimes. So
Yeah.
King Gizzard, check it out with micro tuning, which is they found new notes, and that's pretty cool as a musician because we think we've heard them all. So
Is
now
it-
there's new ones.
Is it kind of industrial, or is
No,
it more?
it's kind of. It's kind of stoner. Geez, I don't know, man.
You don't have a
You can
style.
check it out. It's just very. It's new. It's indie. It's new, man. It's like.
So it's King Gizzard and Lizards.
King
What's
Gizzard.
the,
Wizard or something like that. Yeah.
what's the name of the album?
This album is called. What the fuck? Hold on a minute. I run this shit like Ozzy. What the fuck, Sharon? Butterfly.
Yeah, my
3000.
fucking muffins.
Aaron, do your Sharon imitation.
Sharon!
Sharon! He just did.
Aaron does it good too.
Can you
King
hear
Gizzard and the
this?
Lizard Wizard. They're an
Can you hear
Australian
this?
rock band. I got them here.
Can you
Yeah.
hear this?
Here, let me hear it.
Rock, acid rock. I hear it.
All right.
We're tripping here.
Do not try this at home, folks. You will go on a trip.
Hey,
Songs
you
about
might have to stop
Shanghai.
it. They're going to get us on copyright.
Oh shit.
Do not try this at home, folks.
By
You
the
might go
police.
on a trip.
King Gizzard, man. You would never expect it from over here, but it's good shit. It's you got Spotify. Maybe they'll make
I
like
already found
3
them. I'm
cents.
definitely going to check them out. Yeah.
It's good.
Definitely.
Get ready to get not you. You behave now, but the rest of us evil fuckers. But
I behave. I could still listen to good music though.
make sure you go to the Iron Maidens tomorrow, guys. Courtney's Homecoming. Seriously.
I'm definitely thinking Aaron probably won't be able to because of his family.
Outside, you could bring the kids, give them a roast beef sandwich.
Anyway, Steven, why don't you just plug all your upcoming shows and where everybody could check you out?
Okay.
plug everything, including
September
Clockwork.
10th, I have Buffalo, the Riviera Theater with the Land of Oz. September 17th, I have Ocean City, Maryland, Biker Week with Just Sabbath. On October 8th, Mad Steven, Tom and Jerry's. October 9th at 1:40 in the day. Make a day of it. It's going to be definitely Leopard and Ultimate Live Evil. Live Evil's first at 1:40, and then it's for the Shriners at Yacht Stock. So that's on the 9th. Mike LeCompte's playing, Sarah Spicer, Audrey McLaughlin from The Voice. Good shit. Country stuff at the end. Maybe I'll be guesting with something. I don't know. And then we have October 23rd, Hammers and Hairspray Part 7, which is Dio, which is Ultimate Live Evil, and definitely Leopard at Tom and Jerry's. And that gets me to October.
Awesome.
Bro.
Did I get him in? That was good, right?
Yeah.
And why don't you give the production company a plug too?
Clockwork Productions. Thank you. Christy will kick me in the balls.
Yeah.
I loaded tonight. I could just leave at 7. I had to leave at 7 in the morning and do a daytime sound check to play at like 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So
Is
it's
Chris-
dude, 6.5 hours of Buffalo, or
Is
6.
Chris-
Ugh.
Yeah, is Christy going to be with you, or is she going to be at the Maiden show?
I offered her an opportunity to see the Maiden show, but she's going to babysit me and put makeup on me and dress
Gotcha.
me, and we get to see Niagara Falls and continental breakfast and shit. So we like the food. Since I don't drink, it's about catering and such. Yeah, we have catering too, so we're excited about the catering.
Anyway, thanks, Steven, for coming on the show. We appreciate
We
it.
love you. Thank you, guys. Miss you. Just met you. Thank you. I'm pointing the wrong way.
All good, man.
It's Talladega Nights. I don't know what to do with my hands.
All good, man. We'll see you soon, Steven. Thanks for coming on. Everybody,
Thank you so
as
much.
always, thanks for checking out the show.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget to check out law-terrain.com. Use promo code SNM. Get 10% off your purchase. We want to thank them for sponsoring the show.
And the
And
website.
Jay?
Going.
Oh,
The
and
website.
www.sportsandmetal.com.
All
Make
right.
sure to check it out. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and Instagram at Sports and Metal. As always, see you next week. Rock on.
Thank
Peace
you.
out.
Thank you, Steven.
Thank you.
And that's our show. Tune in next time for more Sports and Metal. With Jason Voorhees and Aaron Savage. Ooh, yeah. Got something to say? Hit us up at sportsandmetal0423 at yahoo.com or on Twitter at sportsandmetal.